So, Nilog, I just wanted to document some philosophy. I'll probably upload this to YouTube. I feel like, honestly, it's pretty chill. It's a metaphysical theory. It's like, or while I'm just on the subject, I think that philosophy or science is philosophizing scientifically using psychology, essentially, which is like an important, like, trinity. So, anyways, like, I feel like this theory is pretty cool that I'm about to express or explain. Like, we may be energy, like light energy, like conscious energy, and like when you are a conscious energy, like a conscious being, an energetic and conscious being, you can probably project your energy into systems because if you think about like the fourth dimension, and how that is to, because like say we're fourth dimensional beings and we're projecting into a virtualized system called reality, virtualized. Reality is the virtualized system. So there is sort of like, imagine we just instantly teleported our energetic sine wave, like our voice, um, our energetic signature of what makes us an energetic being, right? And then that is like heavily condensed due to gravity to like a kernel, right? A generative kernel, and that is your pineal gland. And so we've got like our energy, like it's massive, and then it just condenses to a like small kernel. Like if you think about the vastness of space, like that compression is intense, right? And so because it's light energy, and like how condensed can you get light energy, and it stabilizes quite at a small energy focal point, and that's your pineal gland, and there's like an energetic song, and so like that song wants to like get it on in terms of party and groove, like in reality, in existence, you can use words like that too, and so hypnosis, and auto hypnosis, basically continue on. So it's like dancing. It's got this will to move, like the will to move, like Schopenhauer and stuff, Descartes and that representational will. It's not the representational will; it's the expression or and the will to move, and it's that will to groove, and that's like what creates magnetic radiance because it's like gravity oscillating. It's like your center of gravity. You've got energy oscillating there, and you can guide, like command and control that. Like MCs generate energy to command it. Basically, kind of is what I wrote one time, or something along those lines. I don't know, like if that was verbatim or not. Anyways, continue on. So we've got like this will to move, this will to groove, and like to draw from Rupert Sheldrake as like a homomorphic resonance along these lines. And so you've got like a mind with a spine that has formed around this light kernel, and it's like your light body. So it makes sense, homomorphic resonance, I feel like. And so, in terms of scientifically using words hypnotically and understanding that psychology came after philosophy, as far as I know, and it makes sense too as a theory. So, I feel like science can only really be properly used by informed intellectuals who are educated enough or who know enough about philosophy as well as psychology and the historical context that I basically just explained there. So basically, yeah, that's the theory. Like we're fourth dimensional energetic beings, like light energy potentially, and we each have our songs, and our souls are trapped in our pineals, and that's kind of like our psychologies at that point once it's manifested in physical reality. And yeah, that's like a metaphysical theory. Hopefully, I can get my Harvard Graduate School of Arts and Sciences degree, like PhD in psychology from the Harvard GSAS. I hope I can do that soon. And I also want an LLB from Auckland University, and I want another master's degree from AUT. This time I want a master's of business management from Auckland University of Technology, and I hope I can get a main like luxury apartment, maybe near Albert Park, like on Albert Street, hopefully, that I can make great use of as a student and like as a human being living in Auckland, providing I want to stay in Auckland. I just say that because I don't feel a lot of love, like a whole lot of love from people in my life, like the people I know and stuff. Like they don't show me a lot of love, so I don't know. Anyways, hopefully I can also go to Tokyo and start my own manga company, Watatashita Manga Co. That'd be so ill. Like self-publishing, self-distributing, like make your own manga, print it, make the binder, volumes and like distribute it to people that you know, like maybe you know groovy cafes or like library places or like just people with their own businesses who are like into what you do as a mangaka and who like you as a person and think that you know offering your goods, your manga, at their store locations or what have you, or to their network in terms of being a wholesale supplier, like you know that's all good and that's good business. And I really do think like another metaphysical theory. There's also like jurisprudence as well. It's like the only crime that exists is the intentional prevention of good business. And I posit that like you know life is good, like we're lucky to be alive. Life is basically a stroke of luck, a continual like wave motion of luck that comes in waves, you know, from the initial generation of what hashtag create, you know, like what created reality, like that initial light kind of self-awareness realization that you can manifest things through gravitation and lucid dream and uh, containerization in terms of finding ways to project light into a crushing vacuum in terms of gravity, condensing your light. And maybe planets in this way are a bit like our minds in terms of maybe the core, the molten core is like the equivalent of our souls in this equation. So potentially that may be like our mind. So potentially Earth, like planets with cores, may have psychologies that's like aligned with this theory. So yeah, I feel like the jurisprudence related theory I was expressing is that you know, given that like kind of we're lucky to be alive and like life is light and luck, like in terms of movement, and that's good business, and like things can only ever be due to good business. So when you look at negativity and what that is, if everything's positive, what is negativity? It's like the prevention of more good from happening. So it's the prevention, intentional prevention of good business from occurring, and that relates to social engineering and things like that. And so, you know, say I'm a good business person because I feel like this is basically like I'm getting into my autobiography now. Um, Say like I'm a good businessman, and I think I am. I think people who I grew up with, who I went to school with and stuff, identified me as a threat because I'm like a good businessman. So they schemed the socially engineering like type vibes. Like they socially engineered situations to remove me from the equation in terms of social isolation. So nobody does business with me, even though I think I'm a pretty great person to be honest. And like I like people, and I like a lot of the people who I went to school with and things and grew up with and like that I know from being alive in Auckland and things and just doing business and being alive. Like life and business, I feel like it's the same thing. Like business is life and life is business, and I feel like the intermediary between there is essentially socializing, and that's like socializing as a software, just you know expressing that may be useful hypnotically. It is useful maybe to some. It's useful to me, so it's useful potentially. You know that kind of like interesting notion there that I can maybe analyze. I can maybe get into it. I don't know. I just feel like okay, may as well. The log is still going. So in terms of analyzing reality and explaining what I want to along those lines, I feel like the environment that I'm in is like you know it ought to be profitable, and you know if all good business is good business, then it is profitable and I'm alive and I think I'm healthy and I think I'm fit as well. So I feel like maybe I have a profitable business, and like I feel like basically I have been prevented from doing good business, and I think I still am because I'm not making any money, despite me wanting to grow my businesses. And it's like everybody that I know from my life growing up and stuff, besides like my family and some friends who I think are cool and who I enjoy having in my life and who I have had in my life for quite some time. Like you know, I just feel like the more the merrier. And you look at the debt levels in the world today, it's pretty ridiculous. And it's like obviously debt is like I feel like debt is probably something that can be analyzed and understood. I feel like debt is a positive way to deal with crime because when you think about what is happening with debt, there's like a decision that has been made that results in a loss of circulation and that of currency, you know, and that prevention of good business, because it's all about motion, and it's all about like movement and currency circulation. Like that's the word currency. So if you remove something from currency, like circulation, I mean, that's like out of the context of its like where it belongs. And so that's what justice is. That's restorative justice and retributive justice. It's about like restoring that, like me for example, it's restoring my place in my communities and the communities I grew up with, and my place in society in terms of the networks I had been a part of. And now I'm removed because I'm here over on the North Shore, and I want to own like the house on Garden Ave that I grew up in New Lynn, and it's just like I'm removed from all of that, and there's no good business. Like honestly, I think networks ought to be way closer, and societies, communities ought to be like way more united, and it ought to be like way more loving and peaceful everywhere. And I just feel like honestly, I want money that's owed to me. Basically, is sort of how I'm feeling, and I feel like my businesses are probably going to be huge successes. So I'm gonna just keep on keeping on, and doing things like thinking plus analyzing and hoping to do more good business, and hopefully I do enough good business that I can honestly be considered a great businessman. And you know, maybe hopefully I can spend more time with people in my life who I want to spend more time with, like, and enjoy life alongside with at the same party, you know, like hopefully life can be a party 24/7. Maybe it is. Business is 24/7. Is business like kind of a party, like a software party virtualization layer of life, and then life is a kind of containerized version of understanding things that are physical in nature and probably linguistic also, along with just wanting to say like a CSV, like key, theme, shapes, loops, computation, writing, thinking, lucid dreaming, hydrogen, and cooling plus quantum as well. Anyways, I'll leave that log there, and I'll probably upload it to YouTube because may as well. Hopefully my YouTube business is profitable, and hopefully I can make good money by just doing the things in life that I like to do, like hustling and spending time connecting and socializing plus learning, reflecting, partying, loving, playing, existing, thinking, breathing, skating, you know. Anyways, in terms of the Mental Health Act and psychiatry, I feel like, honestly, I feel like the power dynamics are very warped and skewed when it comes to a patient and their doctor, because it's like it's like the psychiatrist is like wanting the experience to be very meaningful, and the patient wants nothing to do with them. So it's like a bit like, give me time now, come here, give me time now. I don't know, it feels like I'm like, you know, I have to with the law, and I don't think that's what law is about. Like, I have the Mental Health Act, I'm sectioned under the Mental Health Act, and I have to interact with this doctor, this psychiatrist, and this mental health nurse, and like whatever else is involved with that. And like that's apparently like because of the law, and I just feel like laws are actually about protecting peace and happiness and perpetuating that over time. And I feel like cannabis and magic mushrooms plus money like cash and LSD as well as hash, honestly, are just great things, and they're healthy and they're good news, they're happy, they're good things. And I just feel like the people who are critical of these things lack awareness, either that or they know exactly what they are going on about when they present themselves socially as being people who are against it, when in reality they know it gives them a kind of advantageous position that leads to cybercrime, because they're basically cyber criminals along those lines, and they're using words and their understanding of minds in order to put people in binds, like contracts and things that you'll find that people end up getting in massive amounts of debt for and crushing debt at that, and it makes them like exploitative and hyper suggestible and able to be controlled by these malicious cyber criminals who I posit are in places like the medical system, probably psychiatrists, and probably within the police department as well. Not all police, I posit. I just feel like there's a lot of corruption and things like that. And to analyze it, I feel like psilocybin is hopefully on the horizon, and I can enjoy writing while also having shrooms for breakfast. And I worded that specifically, like in a certain way, because I feel like it's not about, are you tripping, bro? How was your trip, bro? It's like, sup, bro? Do you have a good supply of mushrooms? And it's like, yeah. And then you just like continue socializing and talking about whatever. Like, are you a good conversationalist? Where does conversation drift? You know, it's like that Tom Scott line about talking about whether talk and sports scores. It's like, uh, have some substance to your conversation. I don't know. Anyways, Axel O2 Oxygen mixtape CDs coming soon. Hopefully, peace.